So here it is, the Samsung Galaxy S5, the follow-up to the S4 and the contender that's hoping to fight with the HTC One M8 and currently the iPhone 5S, but who knows, we could see an iPhone 6 in the summer. So we've got an unboxing. Now, eagle-eyed amongst you would notice there's not a real unboxing because I have used it all weekend, but still it's fun to see what's in the box. So here it is, the box, very similar to the S4 with the faux wooden cardboard offering with a massive 5 on the top. So we'll open her up. Obviously, you also won't have that permanent marker 2 on it. That's just ours because we got it from a PR agency. So we'll open it up. And here is the S5. So I actually didn't go out to MWC, so this is the first time I've seen it. Well, this weekend was the first time I've seen it. And here it is. Now, again, you'll also notice that there's a small dink in the top corner and also in the bottom corner because I dropped it. But more on that when I come to talk about the design. So we'll come back to the phone. What else you get in the box? You get your standard bump. So you've got your warranty card and your instructions. Who reads them anymore? They should just come on the phone. But there you go, they're in the box. What else have we got in here? So you've got your plug socket with the little extendable bit. You've got your USB cable, very nice and white. Then you've got your buds, for those with funny shaped ear buds. And then the headphones. They're quite good headphones actually. So that is what you get in the box, and that's pretty much it, what you get in the box. So we start with the design of the phone. So it's pretty similar to the S4, but it's got a more square feel to it. I quite like it. I wasn't convinced by the leatherette feel of the back when I first saw pictures, and I saw it in the blue, and that was pretty brash. But I actually quite like it. It's got nice textures to it. I thought it'd be a bit more grippy, so a bit more of a grip, but it's actually quite soft. And it's much nicer than what's on the Samsung Galaxy Note 3. And I think it's much nicer than what you get on the S4. And like the HTC One M8, it has got a removable back. So you can take that off and you can put in your replacement battery. That's where your SIM card slot is. So a lot of people were complaining that the HTC One M8 didn't have a removable back, and people have been moaning at Apple about it for years. So it's nice to see that Samsung have stuck with that. Then at the bottom here, you've got your charging port. So if I just open this, is a new design they didn't have on the S4. So they've covered that. That's actually because it's waterproof. So as soon as you switch the phone on, it'll ask you to check that the back is on properly to make it fully waterproof. It's also dustproof as well, not drop proof as I found out. Other buttons, you've got the home button here at the bottom. You've got your volume rocker on the side, and then you've got your power button on the other side, and then the camera on the back. And also there's that other sensor there that acts as the heart rate monitor, but we'll come back to that when we talk about the features. So that's the design. Weighs 145 grams, so it's actually heavier than the S4. That came in at around 130 grams, although it doesn't actually feel heavy in the hand. I used, my phone before was an iPhone 5S, and that is so much smaller than this. But after like a couple of days using it, I actually got used to the size of it. It does take a while, but I actually quite like the size because the screen is 5.1 inches, again bigger than the S4, which was 5 inches. So let's get into it and the features. The first thing you'll notice, the first new feature, is as soon as you go to unlock the phone, well, once you've set it up, obviously, is the fingerprint scanner built into the home button, much like Apple's Touch ID. So all you need to do is set it up. It takes you about 14 swipes to set it up, much like Touch ID again, but unlike Touch ID, you actually need to swipe your finger over the home button. So it's not like Touch ID where you hold your finger over and it unlocks it. It's pretty accurate. I've got 3 fingers set up, but you do have to be careful with your angles. So you can't do it like that or like that. You have to do it exactly on. And again, like Apple's, if you've done anything like put hand lotion on or you've got any gel on your hands, you put it in your hair, it won't actually work. But then you have 3 tries before you have to put in a password. It's pretty handy, it's good for security, and also you can do things with PayPal, which is they've got a partnership with. So once you've got unlocked the phone, it looks very similar to the old Touch Wiz. They've actually given you new wallpapers and they've got rid of Samsung Hub. So Samsung said they want to get rid of as much bloatware as they can, which is a big bonus in our book. So you've got My Magazine, which is Samsung's answer to Blink Feed on the HTC One. It's pretty easy to set up. It's quite a nice interface. You'll find you spend some time in there just kind of looking at browsing when you wait for the bus or something. The biggest change they've done to the interface is actually in the settings. These are all brand new icons, and I really like them. They're really colourful, they're really bright, they're really easy to use, and you can tell exactly which button does what. I'd like it to be that they use this throughout the whole phone, because I think they're actually really, really nice. I like the colours, and they're quite easy to use and easy to spot. So you've got everything in here. The first thing I did actually was to turn off Smart Stay. So that is where the phone goes into sleep mode when it recognises that you're not watching it, but it just does not work. It just kept on turning it off all the time, even when I was looking at the phone. So switch that off straight away would be my advice. And it's quite easy to switch off. You just go into the settings and switch it off. So here's the fingerprint scanner there. So as I said, it's a 5.1-inch screen. It is dazzlingly bright. It's really good. Watching HD content on it is fantastic. It is AMOLED, so it does drain the battery a little bit compared to other phones, but Samsung have come up with, so if you do find yourself low on juice, ultra power saving mode. So what this does is turns everything off basically on the phone unless you've selected that you want to keep that going, and it makes the screen go black and white. So if you press OK, I can show you. So it just turns it on. It takes a little while actually. So you can see there, the screen's gone black and white, and you can add apps that you use all the time with the little add buttons. So it's pretty handy. You know, we've all been there where we've run out of juice, and then you just disable it by just tapping the button at the top. So it's an advanced version of the Sony Xperia Stamina mode. Other new little tweaks they've done for the menu is the new notification. So you've got all these icons up here. So all the essentials you can turn off. Multi-window, you've got a toolbar which brings up a little toolbox that you have there for all your essentials. Obviously all your notifications will come. S-Finder is Samsung's answer to Spotlight search. So you just go in there and you can search for everything. It searches the web and also searches the content you've got on your phone, but it is specific to what you've got in your email or your calendar, so Samsung specific apps. So if you've got a film on Google Play, for example, and you search for it, it won't actually find it. And then you've also got in there, if I can go back, Quick Connect. So that's basically like AirDrop. So you can connect to any devices and just transfer via NFC. And another thing they've got, which they've ported over, is multi-window. You get a little arrow here. So if I just tap on that, and it splits the phone into two screens. So it's kind of handy. I haven't found myself using it. But for example, if you've got a map up, and you're messaging, or you've got an email, or you want to browse and you want to send a link quickly on email, it's fairly handy. So what you do, you just drag and drop the application like so. So that's ported over from what they have on the Notes. So if we go home, I quite like there's still the home button. They haven't got rid of that. It's quite handy for a phone that's so big. So another big feature is S Health, so S Health 3.0. So this now comes preloaded. So what it does is it tracks the amount of steps you've done. It also tracks your exercise. So if we go to exercise, you can choose whether you are going running, walking, cycling, or hiking. So I went for a run with it on Saturday. I know, gasp, surprise, surprise. It works quite well. This is actually when I dropped the phone, because it's so big. You did find when I was running, that's when I dropped it. So it would be good to see how this actually works with the Samsung Galaxy Gear. And that is coming in, so we'll have a look at that. Later, you've also got music. That actually doesn't work with Spotify. It only works with the music you've got in your Samsung library. So you click start and you click stop. And it's much like Endomondo, basically. It's exactly the same. Another thing they've got, which is quite nice, is food. So if you ever use MyFitnessPal, it tracks your food. It's exactly the same. So you just go in, say you have lunch. You can search for anything. It has things that you can buy from a shop. You can also scan a barcode. So if you've got something specific, you just want to scan it. You can do that. So it's exactly the same as MyFitnessPal. And then you have a look at what you've eaten. So if I have a look yesterday, you can also add pictures. And then you can also have a look at what you've done today. So if you go back, we look at pedometer. I'll show you how many steps you've done today. And then if you just tap up here, Shows you how many steps you've done. So that's your history, does exactly the same with exercise. They're saying there's going to be more apps, but currently we did try to add more apps, but it doesn't actually work at the moment. So you see more apps here. It just says that these will become available. So we can't test that yet. So it works really well. I use Endomondo a lot, and it works just as well as Endomondo, and it just means you don't have to download another app. Also, MyFitnessPal, I use that as well. So it's actually just nice to have something that just has it all in one place. And it's a really nice interface. It's really simple, really easy to see what you're looking at. It's much nicer than MyFitnessPal. I don't really like the interface in that. Endomondo as well, to get the most of it, you have to get Endomondo Pro. With this, you get basically the same features in a much nicer interface. Another big feature they've added into S Health is the heart rate monitor. So what you do is you open heart rate and then you scan your finger on the scanner on the back here. So if I just put my finger there. So there you go. 84, good range. So it's quite easy, it's quite simple to use. My other half used it and it didn't recognize this finger, but it could be a vampire. And obviously you can't use it when you go running, which is when you'd want to use it, because it's quite fiddly because it's such a big phone. But it's quite handy just to show your mates and just to check what your heart rate is. And again, similar to what we did with the pedometer, it shows your heart rate. I had a heart attack there. So it goes up. Accuracy again, much like the fingerprint scanner, 80% of the time it works. So it's pretty good going. Much like Touch ID, that works 80% of the time. So that is the heart rate monitor. So if you go out of that, my favorite feature is Geo News. Not much talked about, Geo News. Has a little smiley face because it's good to know that my region is okay. There are no active wildfire, avalanche, dust storm, earthquake, extreme cold, extreme heat, flood, high winds, snow and ice, severe thunderstorms, or winter storms in this area. It's always good to know. I don't know what I'm going to do if ever that face isn't smiley. I want to know what happens. I don't know, maybe the phone goes into kind of panic mode and tells you need to leave the region. Also, you can't check other regions, it just tells you where you are. So that is Geo News. As before, you can kind of drag and drop icons onto the home screen, and same goes with widgets. The big update is, of course, with the camera. It's now 16 megapixels, so up from 13 on the S4, and it's got, like the HTC One M8, selective focus. So if you go in, the difference between this and the HTC One M8 is that you actually select the focus when you take the picture, not post taking the picture. So it's this icon up here, so selective focus, and it tells you need to have an object that is no more than 15 centimeters from the device. And then you just take a picture like you would a normal picture. So I've got one in here that I did earlier, Blue Peter style. So I've got my lovely Captain America 3D printed model there. So you can do it when you're taking a picture. Also, you can actually change the focus post taking the picture. So if I just tap on it and then edit it. So you get 3 options at the bottom there. You can either choose to focus on the front, you can focus on the back, or you can do a pan focus. So unlike the HTC One M8, you can't actually choose multiple points. You can only, you're down to 3, which is not a bad thing. How many times can you change your focus on a picture? So that's fine, it works really well. Also, they've got this super fast autofocus, and it is lightning fast. I didn't notice any lag taking any pictures. Quality-wise, the pictures are great. So obviously you've got different modes. They're taking away drama shot, which is what they had on the S4, and they've also taken away sound shot. Not massive losses, to be honest with you. I don't think I've ever taken a sound shot in my life. But they've added virtual tour, which is where you take a picture and you take multiple images and you create a virtual tour. And they've kept dual camera, so that was on the S4. They've also added it to the HTC One M8, now HTC have, when you take a picture with the back and the front camera simultaneously. You've also got panorama, which we had before, and beauty face, a favourite in the T3 office. You can actually add effects before and after taking a picture. So settings, much simpler to use than before. There's loads of settings. Samsung love their settings. They love to give you choice, Samsung. They like to get your hands in there. So you've got burst shot in here, picture stabilization. Actually does make a difference when I use it. Face detection. You've also got tap to take pictures, selective pictures we've shown you. And there's also effects in here. So you can choose the effects on here and go through them. Another handy feature they've got is, so if you go into gallery and pick an image, let's pick this one, which didn't have selective autofocus. If we go to edit it, handy feature that I quite like is you can add an effect to it. So say you choose sepia, and if you hold your finger on it, it shows you what it looked like before. Take your finger off. It's a small thing, but I quite liked it. Obviously you can go along and change all of these. Video-wise, of course, it does 4K. So we can go to, so you see UHD at the top there, shoots 4K. I don't know who's going to shoot 4K because you can't actually watch it back on anything. Well, you can watch it back, but you're not going to watch it back at the quality that you've shot it. So when you go to the video camera, as soon as you press the video camera, it just starts recording. I found that a little bit annoying. I'd rather press record. But, you know, if you want to do something quite quickly, it's quite handy. So that's the camera. It's a great camera, I have to say. I've been using it all weekend. It works great in low light when I've taken pictures with it. It's really, really fast. I know some people were a bit disappointed by it, but it's a fantastic camera. It's an improvement to the S4. Yeah, maybe the quality of the pictures aren't as good as the HTC One M8, but it's up there with most of the phones out there. Keeping things ticking along, you've got a 2.5 gigahertz quad-core processor and it's lightning fast. To be honest, we've come to expect really fast phones now, and this is no different. It's super, super fast, especially when playing HD movies. So if I show you one that I've got on my Google Play account, you can just scrub along. It's almost instant. Battery life wise, you've got a 2,800 milliamp battery. If you've got things like S-Health going, you've got, you're using the screen, you've got the screen at full brightness, you're gonna last a day basically, which is, it's on par with a lot of other smartphones. If you use the ultra saver mode, obviously it's gonna last you for longer. It's not terrible, you just plug it in when you go to bed, it's fine. First impressions of the S5, to be honest, I was a bit dubious about the design. A lot of people have berated Samsung for not having aluminium. It's kept the plastic around the sides and the leatherette back, but it's much better than I thought it would be. It doesn't feel cheap, actually feels quite premium. I like the fact that it's much squarer now. The camera's fantastic. S-Health is great. S-Health is one of those things that I genuinely will use instead of using Endomondo and MyFitnessPal. I haven't tried it out with the Gear Fit or the Gear 2 yet, so we're going to try that out. But all in all, a cracking phone from Samsung. S5 could be a contender for phone of the year. HTC One M8 has already laid down the gauntlet. It's a pretty strong phone. So we'll be doing a head-to-head with the HTC One M8 versus this, the S5. So please subscribe to the channel for the latest on smartphones and head over to tfue.com for the latest tech news, reviews and features.